On this episode of the John1911 podcast, Sig Sauer disbands their shooting team. Cannonballs wash up in Charleston Harbor. Did someone try to sink a U.S. destroyer? And it's not looking good for Donald Trump. Okay, good morning, everybody. This is Marky and Freeze, and this is episode 43 of the John1911 podcast. How's it going, Freeze?
It's going good.
I'm trying to stay upbeat. We've talked for a little bit already today. I'm not happy with what's going on with the election cycle. So
yeah, well, I'm trying to stay away from our social media because I'm in such a foul mood. I don't want to start whacking people just because I'm mad.
Well, I'm sure they appreciate your honesty. So yeah, the numbers for Trump are not good. I mean, national race wise, you can make whatever argument you want about how many points and this and that, but the reality is it comes down to electoral college votes, and each individual state is its own race, and Trump has to run the table. He has to, assuming he's going to win Ohio.
Well,
but he's got to win Florida, he's got to win Virginia, he's got to win North Carolina, he's got to win Nevada or Colorado, and he's got to run this thing. And
well, but look, every Republican has to win these states. This isn't anything different, and I'm not willing to just automatically throw all these states to Hillary.
I'm not throwing anything to Hillary. It's just, I'm an outsider looking at the map.
I understand that, but you're saying, well, he's got to win Ohio, and he's got to win Florida, and he's got to win it. Well,
he can win Ohio. What's different is he can win Ohio and Florida and still not win the election. He has to win Ohio and Florida, period, but he also has to win North Carolina or Virginia. He's not going to win Pennsylvania, so that's why North Carolina and Virginia are so important. And then I think you still got to throw into like Colorado or Nevada, and it's like,
we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Look, he's got the same hurdle that every other GOP president has to have. We'll see. Is all I'm saying. I'm not saying Hillary's not going to win. I'm just not saying she's definitely going to win and Trump's definitely going to lose. I'm not willing to go to that point right now. We got 28 days left. There's another debate coming down in 8 days. We'll see what happens.
Hey, this didn't get any news, but this happened on C-SPAN, and I think it was a little while ago, but it was worth mentioning. C-SPAN, I don't know if it's C-SPAN 1 or C-SPAN 2. I occasionally will watch it. But I didn't see this live. But there was a call in, and they were talking about the presidential. I think it was when the candidates had announced their vice presidential selections, and this woman called in. They were talking about Hillary, I guess, selecting Kane, and this woman called in from Virginia, and she's like, I was kind of on the fence. I wasn't really sure who I was going to vote for. And I live in Virginia. I serve on council, or she served on council in Richmond or something. And then she proceeded to say, sounded like she's probably an African-American woman. she was very rational, and she didn't seem like she was like really upset. But she basically was saying, I served on local government of some kind with Tim Kaine. I know Tim Kaine, and he's been running for president since way back then. And she said he's crazier than batshit. She's called the man crazy. She said he's crazy, and the fact that Hillary Clinton chose him was enough reason for her to want to vote for Trump. And I thought that was really interesting. And, the woman who's sitting there from C-SPAN, who obviously is not paid to take a direction on anything, was like, and next caller. So, But, if it had been some random call about someone that knew Trump, it'd be a freaking commercial.
Look, I know a guy who's a Democrat. I do know non-Republican people.
Oh, you're on the list now, buddy.
Sons
of bitches.
And his sister is a big Tea Party Republican. And now, mind you, this is from my Democrat friend. I don't know the sister personally. I've never talked to her. But, over the years, it's been great angst that she's a Tea Party member because it pisses him off. But anyway, he was saying that she will not vote for Donald Trump because she just morally feels she can't vote for him, blah, 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 blah. And here's my initial thought. And it's like, why? Did you even hate Donald Trump prior to a year ago? Oh, maybe you didn't like him or like his TV show, but how come Donald Trump becomes this narcissistic Satan guy all of a sudden when no one thought he was a year ago? But my point is, you got Hillary Clinton, who is a liar, a thief, and arguably, a murderer.
Yeah, well.
Maybe not by her own hands, but by her own decree. Take that however you want to take it. But here's the thing. How come a narcissistic Donald Trump who talks mean to women is so much fucking worse than goddamn Hillary? Really? I don't get it.
Well, the media. I mean, it's not, we all know why. You've got Republicans in it's whatever. Look, we have a podcast. We're supposed to give people our opinion. I don't even feel like talking about it. The mainstream Republican Party is no different than the Democrats, and it's all it's that city. It's a running theme of mine. Washington. They all, it's all about making money off the backs of the American taxpayer, and it's all go along to get along. And at the end of the day, they're all in business together, and that's why there's no big difference between the regular Republicans and the Democrats, and why nothing ever changes. I'd mentioned this to you this morning. Chief Justice, fuck you bastard. I mean, John Roberts. Yeah. He's if Hillary gets elected, she's going to get all these Supreme Court appointments. But, hey, we'll survive, as some people say. But, we get a Supreme Court appointment. We get Justice John Roberts, who decides to write the majority opinion on the Obamacare bill, and it's just like the Affordable Health Care Act, and it's just a fucking cop out, because this guy lives in Washington and he decided, I didn't want the court to be political. If the American people don't want this, they should vote against it in their elections. And it's like, I can even see on some level making that point, but your job is to defend the Constitution. Your job is first principles. And it's like, if you can't even fucking do this, what the fuck are you doing? And this is the problem with the entire system right now. And I'm just disgusted. This is not going to be good.
No.
We've talked about, let's just say, let's just talk about guns. Just hypothetical, because I don't want to say anything that's going to sound too crazy, because I'm not James Yeager. Let's just say Hillary, whatever reason, Congress goes all Democrat, Hillary gets in office, and she tips the Supreme Court. And let's just say, through the accepted processes, not through some bullshit decree, that they managed to repeal the Second Amendment. Let's just, extreme example to prove a point. Great, good for you. Now go out and enforce it. Because what's going to end up happening is you're going you're just walking down the road of insurrection. And, you know, I'm not talking Randy Weaver and all that stupid crap. What's going to end up happening is you're going to have governors. It's going to create a constitutional crisis. You'll have governors in states that'll basically say, there'll be some, and they'll go, okay, fine. Every federal agent in my state, get the fuck out. You got 72 hours to get out of the state. We're going to arrest you. If any federal agents come into my state trying to enforce this, we're going to arrest you. And this is what's going to end up happening. You're going to start having, major real political dramas over this kind of stuff. Because, I mean, even if you've got politicians on my side of the fence that don't really believe in what I believe as far as the Second Amendment is concerned, they're politicians and they'll see an opportunity to advance their own personal brands. And they'll quote, go to war against the federal government if they think it can help their name recognition or their brand or their popularity. You know, I mean, I don't see any of this going well. I see trouble.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
You know, big trouble.
Yeah.
So let me take a drink of my Speed Stack. I need some caffeine this morning. So
sure.
But I'll tell you what. I didn't watch the debate on, was it Monday? Was it Sunday night?
Yeah.
You were working, and I just didn't even want to deal with it.
I caught tidbits of it. I was working, so I wasn't able to sit down at home and watch the whole debate. I caught parts of it on my phone when I could, in between whatever, and then I saw highlights and all that shit. So I actually have it recorded, but I haven't really forced myself to sit down and watch it, and I don't know if I will. I mean, I've caught all the highlights that I need to catch.
Well, you know what? I think Trump did well. I mean, I saw it kind of after it happened because I just didn't want to deal with it. But, I saw the comment Trump made about, you'd be in jail and all the other stuff and the fly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, I knew no matter how well he did or didn't do on Sunday night that the media was going to say he lost. And and I think he did really well on his feet. His comments about, oh great, 3 against 1. I mean, that's stuff that Jeb Bush never would have said, even though it would have been obvious.
Well, and it's also stuff that Mitt Romney and John McCain and the last two guys didn't say. Mitt Romney just bobbed his head up and down like a stupid-ass plastic bobblehead doll and let him basically run all over him. Well, Donald Trump didn't allow that. Good for him. Look, the people that aren't going to vote for Donald Trump figured he lost anyway. The people that will figured he won, whatever. The important thing is the undecided people. And maybe Donald Trump did well enough with his comments and his fighting back that maybe he swayed some undecided people to his court. We'll see what the polls show here in the next couple of days, when they start coming in. Because look, Donald Trump fans are going to vote for him whether he wins or loses the debate. Same with Hillary fans. Hillary fans don't care if she loses the debate. They're still going to vote for her.
You're right.
It's the undecided people. The media can sit there and say, oh, Hillary won the debate. Hillary's already won the next debate. It don't fucking matter.
Yeah, I don't believe there's anybody that's undecided. I just don't even see. I mean, it just doesn't even exist. Whatever. I mean, who's undecided? I mean, we're 3 weeks out. I mean, even people that don't pay attention to politics by now have to be paying attention.
Yeah, well, here's the issue no one's talking about, and this is the issue that scares the shit out of the Democrats. Typically, your African Americans and typically your early 20 college kids don't normally go out to vote. I mean, when I say normally go out to vote, statistically, with the exception of the 2 times Barack Obama was on the ballot, statistically they have a very low voter turnout. The question is, and I don't know the answer to it, the question is, will they turn out for this election and vote for Hillary? I don't know. No one really knows this, and we're not going to know until the day after the election, or a couple days after the election. The truth is, if the African American community decide not to show up, and the young millennials that are all Bernie Sanders fans decide not to show up, Hillary may have a rougher road to 270 than everyone thinks.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I hope that's true.
But then again, they all may turn out to vote. They very well could.
The African American vote. You know what? See, well, I'm about to contradict myself. I would say the African American vote, it's about 12% of the population, wouldn't be enough to wouldn't make really a difference overall. But the thing is, let me finish. The thing is, I know. Look, if Trump wins Ohio and Trump wins Florida, he still can lose this thing. He has to win Virginia or North Carolina, and that's where the African American vote's going to be huge, especially in North Carolina.
Well, okay, when you look at the 2012 election, Mitt Romney, Barack Obama. Barack Obama won Ohio by like 200,000 votes. That's a lot of votes.
Is it real? Was it? Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it's like 200,000 votes. It was fairly close in Ohio.
I can't even. I still can't believe that Romney didn't win Ohio.
Well, hey, voter fraud. But look, you're saying the African American community is a small percentage, yeah. But if a state like Ohio, Florida, North Carolina, Nevada, Colorado, the states you've been talking about, if it comes down to a close race, and really it comes down to 100,000 votes, the African American community and the under 25 millennials could make that difference.
It has to make a difference in North Carolina, Virginia, Colorado, and Nevada.
Yeah, but
because that's assuming that Trump's going to win Ohio and Florida.
Well, but I'm saying even with Ohio and Florida, if it's a close race in any of those states, those communities who normally have a fairly low voter turnout could make the difference.
Well, I'm going to give you a statistical math reality here. A close race in any of those states, the bottom line is Trump has to run them all. And if we're bookies instead of podcasters, you and I both know that the bookie numbers would not be in favor of Trump. You got to win. You got to win all these games.
Yeah, but you know what? Again, the bookie numbers weren't in favor of Reagan when he ran all the states. Look. I understand what you're saying, but I'm saying it's still doable.
I hope it is.
It's doable, and I'm not willing to sit here and throw in the towel and say, oh, there's no way Trump can run all these states. I think he can.
I'm not throwing in the towel.
Well, it sure as hell sounds like it to me.
No, I'm not going to sit here and lie to myself the way I did with Mitt Romney. Look, dude, I told myself, and look, there's all these people out there that all want to act like they were so fucking smart in 2012. But, it's amazing how they rewrite history. How in the living fuck did did Barack Obama win re-election in 2012? That makes no goddamn sense. I understand 2008. I still can't figure out 2012. And if I can't figure out 2012, I literally was shocked. That night, when the results were coming in, and Karl Rove had his little mini meltdown on frickin' Fox News when they were calling the states. I was just sitting there like, what the fuck? Because it was so bad in the economy and all the bullshit that's going on. I don't understand how Obama won 2012. And if I can't figure that out, I can't claim to figure this one out. Geopolitical stuff, I got it. Apparently, domestic domestic politics, apparently I don't know shit.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we'll see.
Dude, I'd love to be wrong. I hope to God I'm fucking wrong. So.
Yeah, I mean, look. If you look at the 2012 election, electorally, Barack Obama, totally kicked Romney's ass. He won, Ohio, he won Florida, he won the Carolinas. He won everything. Obama, it sucks. But again, you had a lot of people that traditionally don't show up to vote. Like all the people that showed up to vote for the 08 and the 12 election, none of them showed up for the midterms. Now, I know midterms have a lower turnout than primary, elections. I understand that, but still, none of the people that showed up to vote for the major showed up for the midterms. And I'm just saying that Hillary needs those same people that showed up to vote for Barack Obama in 12. And if she doesn't have those people, it could make a difference. Well, it will make a difference. Whether it makes enough of a difference, time will tell.
Yeah, well, this is all comes down to is the data that we're getting from the polls, is it legitimate and is it accurate? Okay, is there Trump's big saving grace and worry for the Democrats is underpolling, because this happened to. This happened to Obama in 2008. There were all these people that said they weren't going to vote for Obama, and they did. And I remember, was that happened in the primaries in Iowa? Obama won. Did Obama win Iowa in 2008? I think he did.
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah.
And in the primaries, and they're all wondering if there's a big underpoll for Trump. So well,
I'm not gonna stake my hopes on underpolls. Cool, if that's the case, but, we'll see.
Yeah. I'm going to give a parallel here to 2012. There was the attack in Benghazi, and, it's terrorism, it's not terrorism, it's a video, it's all that and all this. And, that's all water under the bridge. People kind of understand what's going on with that. Let me give you an example of what's going on right now that nobody in the U.S. media is talking about, at least in the terms that I'm going to put it. Let me see here. I don't know, about 11 days ago, a Houthi rebel group in Yemen fired an anti-ship missile at a U.S. made but currently Emirati flagged ship. That was a trial ship for the littoral combat ship, for the U.S. Because there's a big war going on in Yemen between Saudi Arabia and Iran. And the Houthis are on the Iranian side. And they're getting anti-ship missiles from Iran, which in many ways are getting them from Turkey, or from China, Chinese technology. So this missile whacked the shit out of the ship. I'll be honest with you, I'm impressed the ship didn't sink. I'm impressed the whole front of the ship didn't crack off. The ship got hammered. And, that's fine. There's as much damage as it took. A lot of these, that's what you're one and done. A lot of these, missiles and ships anymore. That's why the ships aren't as heavily armored as they used to be, because you can't armor a ship enough to make them survivable. I mean, you take a hit, you're out of action. So, and that's fine. It was what it was. Was it yesterday or the day before? A U.S. missile destroyer off the coast of Yemen reported that it's being reported in the media that two anti-ship missiles were fired. No, they're not even being reported as anti-ship missiles. They're just being reported as missiles were fired, quote, in the vicinity of this destroyer. And, some people are like, well, maybe it was our countermeasures that kept it from hitting our ship. But here's the thing. I mean, that could have easily turned into a Benghazi. If a U.S. destroyer had got, I'll tell you what, the destroyer got hit by two, I don't know what they're firing. It could be silkworms. I mean, who the fuck knows? But if both of these missiles had connected with this destroyer, that destroyer would have gone down. It would have been unsurvivable, and it would have changed the entire political conversation in this country in an instant. But what I find interesting is that the media, it would have been so dramatic a shift in the story in this country, but the media is not even raising it up to the level of oops, this could have been a big deal, or even talking about what it really was.
Yeah, they're not talking about it at all, actually.
And here's the point. Americans don't want to accept this reality, but this is the truth. Foreign governments and foreign actors love to tweak the United States. They like to affect the United States. They like to do things to the United States. And launching a big attack on an embassy on September 11th in Libya is not a coincidence. Trying to sink a U.S. warship off the coast of Yemen in October is not a coincidence. The WikiLeaks and, maybe the Russians and all this other stuff. It's not a coincidence. I mean, everybody's playing for keeps here, and everybody has an opinion of where they want things to go. And it's just interesting to me that everybody's talking about Melania's blouse, and there's no mention of connecting these two stories. And that's where, people on the policy side and the geopolitical side are sitting around going, man, people are stupid. It's frustrating. So anyway.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It is what it is.
So let me, I'm going to bring up something. I don't think you've heard about it. It's gun industry related. Sig Sauer, you're a big fan. You're eventually going to be. You have gone on record as saying you will be getting a Sig Sauer P320, right?
Yeah, if one comes my way at a decent price. It's kind of like on the it's on the short list of things I want to buy, and that may come, if Hillary gets elected, that may come sooner than, sooner rather than later. But, yeah, exactly.
Well, Sig Sauer has they've got a shooting team, and they disbanded their shooting team last week.
I had not heard that.
Yeah, they, and it's interesting. Let me see if I can find a story on it. Let me see what I got here. The Gray Shirts team was, I think they've got a guy that's Bruce Gray. He's a well-known SIG gunsmith. They've shut the team down, and I'm not. No one can really figure out why they did this. I mean, is it that? Well, I guess I would imagine. We have some experience with this. Running, keeping shooters and teams running and moving around the country is a big expense. It's not cheap, and maybe SIG has decided, the 320 and their stuff is selling so well that that they don't need this team. You know, they've decided their organic sales and kind of their brand has taken a turn, and they've decided to shut this team down.
Well, I mean, yeah, maybe. I have no clue.
Or maybe there was a big sex scandal on this team, and maybe they shut their team down the same way Glock shut down their team. Oh, wait a minute, Glock didn't shut down their team. Oh, that's right. Of course, you have no idea what I'm talking about, Freeze, do you? You have no clue.
No, I don't. I don't know. Was there a sex scandal?
Oh my God, there was. Yeah. Glock has a bunch of women on their team, and I don't want to go in the whole big drama, but one of the team members was underage, and one of the people that was involved in running the team was married to their top female shooter. Well, I don't know, probably their most popular female shooter, but he was porking the 16 or 17-year-old girl that was on the team.
Oh, good for him.
And he went to jail. And a bunch of the people left the team. The girl that he was porking is still on the team. His wife has left the team, left him, got remarried, changed her name, and now shoots for Taurus.
I was just going to say, now she shoots for SIG.
No, she shoots for Taurus and Weatherby. Her name is I'm going to use her. It's I can't remember. I can't remember her old name to her new name. I don't want to say the wrong name. Her first name is Jessie, and we've had photographs of her on our 7 a.m. pictures. Very good looking girl. She's a woman, but no one ever talks about this. But you and I as business people, and whatever. I mean, I look at this Glock thing. The SIG thing reminded me of the Glock thing. I'll tell you what, I don't know what's going on with Glock. I can't believe that girl is still on the team, and I can't believe the team is still functioning. They must be in a situation where they can't fire anybody because it's going to be a big giant lawsuit. And I'll tell you what, like if the SIG thing reminds me of this. When Gaston, kicks the bucket and moves on, and ownership of Glock matures into actually being some kind of corporate entity run by people with, money on the line and investors and being responsible, basically having to be responsible to other people. The first thing I would do was I would shut that whole goddamn team down. I'd shut Glock down because it's a huge nightmare. I mean, I don't know. I would be real curious to know what kind of checks were stroked to solve those problems. And, I'm sure there's nothing similar going on with SIG. I'm sure SIG, it was a financial decision. But it just reminded me of it's a shame to see SIG disbanded, but, man, there's other teams out there that need to be shut down.
Well, what a lot of gun guys don't understand is from Glock or SIG's or Taurus's or Smith & Wesson's point of view, it's all about the bottom line. Shooting teams are expensive to run. It's a big expense. And if you're, and look, it's all about returns. If that shooting team isn't giving you a solid enough return in your market share, then you got to cut the dead weight. And honestly, when it comes to cutting dead weight, do you cut your shooting team or do you lay off, 50 of your manufacturing employees? I tell you what, I don't know why SIG shut their shooting team down, but I would just imagine it's a matter of diminishing returns.
Yeah, look, SIG's. I don't know this, but I would imagine SIG's sales are climbing.
SIG sales are climbing, but is the shooting team pulling their weight
relative to the success of the other of the other things, I may possibly not. Now, this gives me a chance to bring up something else. You're a big YouTube guy, and I mean, you know, because when you're running production and you're making shirts, you'll have YouTube videos playing a lot of times in the background because it's something to listen to.
Yeah.
You know, and you like YouTube videos that tend to be really long because you don't have to keep stopping to hit play on YouTube.
Exactly.
So you are a fan. You turned me onto this guy, and this guy's well known. His name is Nut and Fancy. And I saw this the other day, and I did what you did. I was doing other stuff. I decided to listen to it while I was doing something in the armory. Mm-hmm. Nut and Fancy did a review on the SIG. Is it the MCX?
MCX, yeah.
Yeah, their AR-15, not the pistol, but the actual their version of an AR.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's actually selling quite well.
That's kind of, I didn't know if it was selling well or not selling well. I don't really pay attention to it. The first I ever paid attention to the SIG MCX was when Omar Mateen went and shot up the gay bar down in Florida, because that's apparently the rifle he used.
Look, between the 320 and the MCX, SIG sales are doing quite well.
Well, here's the thing, and this is what I thought was interesting. Nut and Fancy, I mean, I've seen enough of his videos that I kind of know what to expect. He kind of has a couple themes. He doesn't like stuff that's really expensive. And he doesn't like stuff that, you know, is more expensive than the other stuff and does the same thing. I was shocked. He loves the SIG MCX. I was shocked. And I'm thinking, if you're telling me the SIG's a home run, I've heard from other people that they like this SIG rifle. You know, Nut and Fancy's liking this SIG rifle. And then, you know, well, SIG's doing so well with the 320 and maybe the MCX, they don't even need their shooting team anymore. Man, this gun must be selling really well. That's the first thing that crossed my mind.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't have any sales numbers. I don't, but I mean, I know that the 320 is selling really well. The MCX is, I mean, they were doing well with their 5.56, when they came out with the XI, but man, the MCX is just, I mean, the XI still sells, but the MCX is killing it.
Are they even still making the 5.56, or they finally shut that down?
No, I think they're still making it, but I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't expect them to be making it much longer. I mean, look, I could be wrong. They still could. But look, I mean, I like the 5.56 XI. I mean, I personally really like that platform. But look, man, everyone's an AR guy around here. So, and the 5.56 XI is not an AR. It's not. But the MCX is like the best of all worlds.
Yeah, I didn't realize until the stories were going around about the shooting down in Florida, because again, I never paid attention. To me, it's another AR. I guess it's a piston system.
Yes,
it's a piston gun, so it doesn't have a buffer tube in it, so you can fold the stock. You can get an adapter and fold a stock on a gun with a buffer tube. But and I personally like that. I think that's pretty cool. So, I was just surprised. And I told you, I had run across, I was in a gun store, and I'd run across I have to keep all these names straight because I don't follow these brands that closely. The SIG, is it the MPX? That basically their 9mm gun. And it's like an AR, but it shoots 9mm, and it's designed from the ground up to be a 9mm. So it's not like, it's got a smaller frame and smaller magwell. And I was shocked at how well that gun was made, at least in the store. I was thinking, man, if the AR is anything like this gun, because like the the fore ends, the rails, everything just slides off, and it was really interesting gun. So, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was just I did some pictures on it, and I'd like to pick one up. I mean, I was like, I'd like to have a 9mm carbine of some kind one day, but I was basically just going to maybe just, get an H&K derivative. But that MPX, the 9mm SIG, was so neat. I mean, the magazines, I just thought it was a really well-designed gun. I mean, it was expensive, and I was like, I don't want to pay this money. But I was impressed. I was seriously impressed.
Yeah.
And I guess the MCX is probably along the same lines. So.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm a super huge SIG fan. Just always have been.
Yeah. So I thought that was interesting, and I didn't know if you'd seen the Nut and Fancy thing, and I didn't know if you even paid attention to the SIG rifles at all.
Well, I do. I do pay attention to them. Look, getting back to like the MCX versus like the XI. Look, the XI is like the SCAR. Actually, it's pretty much dead on. The SCAR and the XI are very, very similar as far as their functions, the way they operate, the controls, the
XI is like the SIG 550, the European, that service rifle. That's basically a derivative of that, right?
Well, yeah, that's the 5.56 XI, is started life as the 550, yeah. But I mean, if you look at the SCAR and you look at every feature the SCAR has, the XI has that feature and more. But it's not an AR. And here in the United States, let's face it, we're an AR country.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, we are.
We're an AR country. And the XI, it's pricey, not SCAR pricey, but it's pricey, Yeah,
there's not too many things that are SCAR pricey.
Yeah, good point. But compared to ARs, it's on the pricey side. But the MCX, it's a piston AR, man. It's solid. It's a good gun, and it's not as pricey, but it's up there too. But if you're going to build a nice AR, you're going to be in that dollar range anyway. So
Yeah, I don't know what they go for. The 9mm, full tilt retail in a store was, this was for a rifle, not a not a pistol. I think it was like about $1,600. It was up there.
Yeah. Well,
But I'll tell you what, there's a new, I call them SIG braces, but this may not be made by SIG, but there's a new SIG brace that looks more like I don't know how to describe it. It's got more of a blade on the back of it than it does that big circular thing. So this basically, the theory is you lay it up against your arm, but it's a much more stock-like brace than even the SIG brace, and that thing seems to have some real potential. So much so that I can now even see some of the benefit of, say, like a pistol, quote, the pistol version of some of these guns, and getting one of those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, sure. Why not?
Yeah, why not? So I just thought you'd find that interesting, because I know you're a big SIG guy, and then I saw the Nut and Fancy thing, and then SIG shut down their team, and I'm like, man, I don't pay attention to these guys, but I bet you they're making a buttload of money.
Well, look, here's the thing with the with the MCX, dude. I don't know look, I mean, this guy's
the MCX is the 5.56 AR rifle, and the MPX,
yes.
I believe, is the pistol caliber carbine.
Yeah. But I mean, like the MCX, I mean, you're looking, it's not $2,000. It's probably like $1,700-1,800. I mean, so you're looking at a high retail, for an AR, but it's a piston AR gun. I mean, and I mean, it's, but here's the thing. Even at that retail, they're selling a shit ton of them. But on the other hand, I can go out and, and buy an AR for, $700-800, and then drop another, depends on if I want to fancify it up, not counting optics, I mean, I can drop, as much as I want on it. Thing with the MCX, other than optics, you don't have to buy anything for it. It's there. That's the nice thing about it.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. So, hey, let's talk about something fun. I want to change gears here. Larry the Cable Guy, right?
I hate that guy, but yeah.
What? Did you see what happened? He was at a football. I mean, he was, I guess, at some college town, and for like what was it? Let's see here. His real name's not Larry, I don't believe. He was it a Nebraska football game? He was in some little college town, I think in some bar, and they were filming something. And out for before a college football game, and some guy came up to him and said, "Hey, you want to arm wrestle?" And so they were wrestling. Did you see any of this, Freeze?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Oh man, that kid's arm.
Well, I mean, if you're a pretzel rod, you shouldn't arm wrestle. Snapped it like a pretzel rod.
I like arm wrestling. I've never lost an arm wrestle as an adult. I've seen a couple arms break. I've never seen one break above the elbow in arm wrestling before. I've seen them break below the elbow. But I was like, because I had to watch it. I was like, oh man, I hate these. I'm going to watch it. And the whole time I'm like, ooh, 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 ooh. And it was like, snap. And I was like, oh shit. Oh. You just, if you haven't seen the video, it's pretty good. I was like, damn, Larry the Cable Guy. I don't know if Larry's strong or the kid was weak, but it was. I didn't know if you'd seen it, Freeze. So,
yeah. I mean, I didn't watch the video, but I saw a blurb that he broke some dude's arm while arm wrestling. But. I mean, I might have been interested in watching the video if I didn't think the guy wasn't the largest freaking annoying jackass on the face of the earth, but, whatever.
Okay, I didn't, I'm sorry I brought this up. I didn't realize I didn't realize you were a super hater fan.
Well, every time I hear some freaking redneck hillbilly yell, "Get her done," I just want to shoot him in the face with a taser.
Oh. Now, come on.
No, it's the truth. I really do. I hate that phrase so much.
Well, I mean, I don't think I even hear it anymore, but I'm sure he's making money off of it still. So,
yeah, we're working Redneck Central.
So with the hurricane that came up the East Coast, do you think the milsurp community, especially the Civil War milsurp community, is going to have a new influx of Civil War and Revolutionary War cannonballs and ordnance showing up on the market?
Nope. No, I don't. Because the DOD already warned the neighbors that you might hear small explosions. So.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know this, and, I remember being down at Fort Sumter and, you look at these. I mean, Boston Harbor is another one, really. People don't realize it. But, Fort Sumter, in Charleston, South Carolina, that harbor. I mean, both sides shot the shit out of that harbor. There's so much unexploded ordnance in that down there. And you don't. Some of it's solid, and some of it's explosive.
Plus, the harbor was blockaded for the entire war, and every time a blockade runner came down, they shot the shit out of it. That's where the Monitor and hell, just look at all the cannonballs from the Monitor and the Merrimack. When they banged it out for hours. Man, there's cannonballs all over that place, and like you said, a lot of them are solid shot, but then again, a lot of them are not.
Yeah, there was you had sent it to me, and I had seen it. There's photographs of some cannonballs that have been unearthed by the hurricane, and people were, I guess it's probably a common issue down there where people may, there's something they kind of have to know about. So, let me see here.
Well, give the beachgoers a little something to think about next time they're at the beach.
You would know more about this than I would. I don't know, what percentage of cannonballs are solid shot, and some of them are, they've got explosives in them.
From the Civil War?
Yeah, just the Civil War.
Most of the round balls were explosive.
Really?
Mm-hmm. At least in the field artillery. I don't know about the Navy, but the most of your non-explosive rounds were like your canister and your grape, things of that nature. But percentages, I have no clue.
I remember running across a guy, and he had a cannonball and for sale, and I was looking at it, and I was talking to him, and what it was, he had it set up. He had put a little effort into it and had a little stand and all this kind of stuff, but the problem was he couldn't tell me anything about it. He couldn't tell me where it came from, or what it was, and he knew I was interested in it. But the thing was, I wasn't going to be that guy that bought this. And then, I'm on CNN because, the frickin' library blew up because it turns out it was explosive ordnance.
Yeah. That's the thing.
And that happens every couple of years. You'll hear some story. Somebody runs across one of these things and they take it home, and what was it? Wasn't there a guy a couple years ago? He was gonna cut him in half or something, and show a cutaway, and didn't realize it had explosives in it.
Yeah, ended up blowing himself up, I believe.
Yeah.
Look, a lot of your solid cannonballs that you find, on the East Coast, obviously, up and down the East Coast, are actually left over from the Revolutionary War and War of 1812.
Yeah, that's an issue, especially in Boston Harbor. Did the French ever make it into Boston Harbor?
No, no, I don't believe so.
But there's stuff all up and down. There's.
Yeah, I'm like I said, most of your solid shot is, now you'll find fragments of cannonballs and stuff because, they were explosive,
Yeah.
And look, they had a lot of different type of, shot for their cannons. Everyone's familiar with, grape shot, but the Navy used, they used, bars and chain shot. Bars were basically, they just looked like a dumbbell.
Oh yeah, so they would knock down the riggings, right?
Yeah, exactly. And chain shot was just a piece of chain with two solid balls on each end. And again, it'd spin, get tied up in the rigging, and then on field artillery you had, your canister or your grape, which is basically just like a big shotgun shell. and that was solid shot. But, it was usually a metal, either a can or a wire like worm filled with smaller solid balls to where when it fired, it came apart. And when it came apart, it basically, like I said, was like a shotgun. Those were solid. So, it's, but the traditional big round solid cannonball, and mind you, during the Civil War, again, they were using round balls that exploded, but a lot of them, like your Parrott guns or Perot guns, they were a lot of your later guns were rifled, and they were using, almost like a conical bullet type, that was later in the war, but, so yeah, there's a lot of solid, but a lot of explosive too, if any of that makes sense.
It does. I mean, I would love to have some chain shot, just to have it around here in the armory. I think that would be awesome. That's why I wanted the one cannonball. We're always looking for representative pieces for the library, and I'm always looking for stuff. But the problem is a lot of this I don't know what it is, and I can't buy stuff on my own because I'll buy something and blow us all up.
Didn't I give you a fragment from a Civil War exploding cannonball?
Yep, we do have that in the armory. Do you remember? I don't think we've ever told this story. I had acquired a Russian. I had acquired a demilled. I'll tell this story in the way it happened. I acquired an empty or demilled Russian anti-tank weapon. Basically, it was like their version of the TOW missile. I mean of the law missile. The little portable one. And so, there was a company that brought them in the U.S. They're fired. They're one and done. You can't reload them. It's really just a representative tube. And I had this thing shipped over here to the armory. And I remember as soon as, the box was waiting, and as soon as I picked it up, I was like, what the fuck? Because it was much heavier than it was supposed to have been. And, I crack it open. I did take it to a safer area, and I'm like, I'm going to have to, because, I'm thinking, well, maybe this was a mistake, and maybe they sent over something, maybe something got through. So, open the thing up, take it out, and sure enough, it's heavy, and it feels like it's loaded. And I'm like, I'm thinking, it's probably not loaded, but until I can be 100% sure, we have to be careful, because, maybe, something got through. And I called you, and you looked it up, and you were like, "Nah, man, that's you got the model and the whatever, and you were like, "No, dude, that's a training version. It's built inert, but it's built it's weighted, so it has the same weight. So if you're carrying it or whatever, or marching with it, it's like having a real loadout." Because I had to call you up, and I'm like, "Hey, dude, we might have some unauthorized ordnance over here at the armory."
Isn't that a Czech military?
You know what? I call it all. Oh, let me take a look, because it's actually behind me. Let me look. Hold on.
Yeah, because it's going to say Czech military right on the side.
You know what? Let me hold on one second. All right. Can you hear me? Let's see here. God damn, this thing's heavy. You know what? It's not in Russian. So it is Czech, because it's not Russian. It's a RPG 75. It's got a 1985 maker's mark on it, but you don't know if that's, well.
Is there any cross swords on it anywhere? It's checked.
It's got. I mean, here's the thing. It is not in Russian. This is not Russian. I don't speak Czech, but I'm looking.
Does it say Skolny or something like that on it? Yeah, that's Czech.
Yeah, it's a Czech missile.
Yeah, so. it's kind of like a Czech law.
Yeah. And, man, I mean, I remember I was like, what the fuck? Because I thought we were getting just the fired tube. And I was just like, dude, I mean, shit happens. People get stuff. And, just because, and this is a good lesson for people that are home. Whether, look, if you're a civilian collector or a milsurp collector or whatever, just because it's for sale somewhere doesn't mean that it's not explosive. Doesn't mean that it's legal, and doesn't mean that somebody didn't make a mistake. And it could be even an honest mistake. Because, this Czech RPG 75, I mean, this came into the country. They came in as inert, and a shipping container full of them comes in, and somebody, you're depending on, all the guys over there, you're depending on all of our people here, all of our customs and all that, and every single one of them was checked, was confirmed to be inert, and it turns out one of them got through that wasn't. I mean, guns get through the airport screeners all the time. Guns get through courthouse screeners all the time. I mean, they're honest mistakes, but they don't get caught. And if you're the final end person that gets something like this, like whether it's a Civil War cannonball, you need to make sure you know what you got, because you could blow yourself up. Just, word for the wise. So, I mean, look, it can happen to anybody. And, it's something that, I was like, I got to call Freeze, because, I did not expect this to weigh like it was loaded. I'm going to put it back on the wall, so you start talking.
Yeah, well, that's basically the reason why you defer to me on military stuff, because otherwise you end up paying way too much money for, things like, rifles.
Hey, in my defense.
Now, there is no defense. You overpaid. The guy saw you coming and said, "Oh man, look at this! I got a lemming here. I'm going to snarf up on him."
Freeze is making a reference to a rifle that we gave away for our gun giveaway, and it was the M1 Garand. That ended up down at Fort Bragg, I believe. But you thought I paid too much for it. It was a World War II gun, CMP gun, didn't have papers, but it was good looking stock.
It's a good looking gun. Good looking gun.
Yeah, it was a great looking gun.
Yeah, you just overpaid for it.
I did I mean, look, we needed something to give away. I ran across it. I made a command decision and I bought it. And, you know what? Everybody was excited. Everybody was excited about it, but you. So it's everybody versus you.
Look, I would have been super excited about it if it was, I don't know, $400 cheaper than what you paid.
I appreciate you not saying how much I paid for it. Yeah, Freeze, that was a week. Freeze had been working, so he works nights, and so he had been asleep.
I was unavailable.
And I ran across this, and I was like, God damn, we need something to give away. So
I get an email saying, "Oh man, I picked up an M1 Garand," and I'm like, "Awesome." Then he told me the price, and it was like, "What?"
Well,
oops. Why would you pay Blazer money for a Taurus?
Oh man, but hey, okay, look. In my defense, the FN military collector rifle, you haven't seen that yet.
No, I haven't.
The A4, the 20-inch A4 rifle, not a carbine, but it's an actual rifle. Those are going for like $1,600, $1,700, even if you can find them now.
Yeah.
Got that for $1,200. We got that for $1,200, brand new. We did good on that gun.
Good. That's kind of where we need to be in it.
Yeah, we did real good on that gun. So
we don't need to be full blown retail and stuff like that.
No.
Yeah, and you know what? And I like that gun because I mean I've never seen it, but I like that particular gun because I kind of like that. I kind of like the idea of having basically a bone stock military rifle. I mean, ARs are ARs or ARs or ARs, and then, you trick them out, you got fangs on them, you got, Swiss Army knives attached to the side of them, and you got all this fancy crap, hanging off the goddamn things. It's kind of nice just to see a plain old stock military AR,
Yeah, and that, a couple reasons. One, I mean, if you actually look at all of our military, you know what? I'm not going to say most of the quote modern sporting rifles that are sold today are all carbine. People don't think about it, but they're all 16-inch guns.
Well, yeah, because no one wants to carry a long son of a bitch around with them.
And, this gun is probably going to be one of the last of the service rifles that's in frontline use, at least for a while, for general issue use. And CMP changed their rules, so you can now use them in high-power service rifle for civilians or for everybody. So you can, it's an actual, it's got the Knights rails on it, flat top, but it's got the military rear sight. And it was a good price, and it's it's got the target stock on. I'm like, you know what? We'll shoot this at Camp Perry. Fuck it.
Yeah, I mean, look, here's the thing. I don't want to hump around a 20-inch rifle, a 20-inch barreled rifle. I really don't. But you know what? I don't mind shooting them, especially this weekend if we go down and set up our 200-yard range.
Yeah, we're gonna do that Friday.
Yeah, Friday.
Okay.
I gotta send a couple text messages out just to confirm everything.
We're going to set up a bunch of steel targets for a new range. So,
but you know what? Yeah, I definitely want to take that down there and bang away at some steel. And why not?
Yeah, I mean, I just actually I was invited to shoot a match on Saturday. But they were like, it's probably not going to happen. I'm going to go, but we'll see. So,
is it local or?
No, it's a little bit of a drive, but I'm going to check it out.
Well, I mean, is
I don't have to get on an airplane.
It's not an overnighter or anything.
No, I could probably do it same day.
Okay, well, yeah, that's not too bad.
Yeah, I could probably do it same day. So, I might be doing that on Saturday. So basically, Friday we'll be working on steel targets. Saturday, I might. What I might do is I might just go and look at this match and kind of see how they run it. I may bring this A4, and then after the match is done, I may zero it and shoot it in some of their stages. Post match before they do a teardown, just to get it zeroed.
Yeah.
But I have to figure out what I'm going to run. I guess I have to get some. I mean, it's got iron sights on it. It's got the military sights. I probably have to get some 62 grain ammo for it. So I mean, whatever. I don't know.
You know what? I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah, I mean, for like a 500-yard shot, if it's preset for that weight, I mean, it's I probably want. We'll see.
What do you got? 55 grain?
Mostly right now. I think I've got some. Well, the only 62 grain ammo we have in the armory right now is is like Israeli steel core penetrator. So, you know, I don't know.
Well, okay, yeah, probably. They're probably not going to let you shoot that.
Well, here's the thing. I know that the outline of the match, they have a speed limit, and if they have a speed limit, that tells me they have steel targets, and they're probably not going to want me to shoot steel core penetrators or steel targets.
No. I don't want you shooting them at our steel targets.
So, yeah. So, that, you know.
I'm thinking that's going to leave a ding.
Yeah. Well, you know, it depends. You know, hey, look. I mean, you can tear the shit out of a steel target that's far away, but if you're going to be shooting those steel targets, say semi-close range, like, you know, you're going to like, you know, so we have stuff on Mitchell's range that we shoot with rifle, but we'll come in and shoot it with pistol, and you do not. If you deform those targets, you don't want to be shooting those with a pistol. You're going to hurt yourself.
Oh, hey, man. I mean, we shoot them with pistol, and I still get splatter. You know, I still get hit in the forehead and arms and chest and shit with spalling.
Yeah.
You know,
there's just no getting around it.
It's just you're shooting steel. I mean, it's what happens. You know, that's why you wear protection.
Yep.
You know, and I also wear a Kevlar cup. Because, you know, you got to protect the babies. But no, I mean, you know, you get spalling just shooting normal steel. You start pocking those steel plates and getting little divots in them, man, all kinds of ugly shit goes down.
Yeah,
when you're up close.
Because then you start getting where large pieces can start coming. In theory, it can still come back at you, but if you're putting pock marks in that. You're changing the deflection angle, and if a bullet hits that pock mark the wrong way or a section of the jacket, it ends up, instead of it going down to the side, it ends up coming right back at you. And as opposed to a little piece, you've got a huge piece coming back at you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know a girl that basically had her lip split in half by it was pretty bad.
Well, I mean, not last time, but it was earlier in the summer. We were down at Mitchell Range shooting with pistols up close, and I had a piece of copper jacket that stuck in my arm. I had to pull it out, drew blood, you know.
Call out for a medic. Medic!
Get the quick clot. No, I mean, you know, it was, spit on it and wipe it off. It was fine, you know. But,
Oh, does your arm hurt? Let Larry Cable Guy come up, break your arm. Man, does it hurt now? Oh, no, I don't care. I don't feel it anymore.
Yeah, let Larry Cable Guy come down to Mitchell Range. Yeah, I got a gift for him.
Oh, don't be hating on the guy because he's successful.
Yeah. But no, I mean, you know, yeah, I've just run what you have. I wouldn't worry too much about it.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. I don't know what I'm going to do, so.
Yeah.
Well, that's about all I got, unless you've got anything you want to add, Freeze.
No, the only thing I have to add, we'll save for another podcast, because I'm just filled with hatred and angst over like Glenn Beck endorsing Hillary Clinton. And
did he actually endorse her?
Okay, he didn't. He didn't actually officially, endorse her, but yeah, basically, he's just like, I believe the quote was, electing Hillary Clinton is a moral and ethical choice. Dude, I mean, well, look, here's the thing. If anyone has followed Glenn Beck for the past 10 years, I mean, when he had a show on Fox, listened to him on the radio, he spent the last years talking about progressives and socialists and the liberal Democrats and Van Jones and the hippies from the 70s or 60s and 70s and how terrible they are. Dude, coming back and saying, for him to say Hillary Clinton is the moral and ethical choice, talk about hypocrisy. He's the biggest hypocrite out there. There's no politician out there that's a bigger fucking hypocrite than that piece of shit.
Well, look, here's a cynical view of Glenn Beck, and I don't think we've ever talked about this publicly. Look, Glenn Beck how do we look? Glenn Beck put all his money on a few horses, and those horses didn't come in. Now, I'm not going to list who those horses are, but, they didn't come in. So Glenn Beck is outside looking in. If Donald Trump wins, Glenn Beck's in the same position as Lindsey Graham and John McCain and all these other establishment people. If Donald Trump wins, they are outside the club. So if Donald Trump loses, they actually now can say, hey, you can't win without us because I didn't pick this guy, I didn't endorse this guy or this girl, I didn't do X, Y, or Z, and so that helps their business and the business of whatever they're in. And they're incentivized for Trump to lose at this point.
Yeah, but that same argument can bite him in the ass because if he loses all his viewers because they blame him for taking all these votes away from Trump and getting Hillary elected. Look, if Hillary comes out here and it's a major landslide and she just crushes Trump electorally and crushes him in the popular vote as well, then none of it really matters. But if it's even marginally close, he could find himself on a sinking ship.
We'll see. I mean, I don't know.
Okay. You know how Glenn Beck has talked about Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton over the past 10 years?
Yeah.
Okay. A quote from him, or not a quote, but he regularly describes Trump as a Hitler-like psychopath in a Nazi brown shirt. Dude, really? Really? Where does he even get that? A Hitler-like psychopath in a Nazi brown shirt. Where does that even come from?
That is more reflection of him and his personality and how his worldview. Basically, what that tells me is, because he's on the outs looking in, imagine what Glenn Beck would say about us if he was pissed off at us, or what he would say about I mean, at the end of the day, it's always the same with Glenn Beck. And look, and the issue I have with guys like Glenn Beck, and this is probably going to this could turn off a lot of our listeners, but our regulars should know this. I'm not a religious conservative. I don't have a problem with religious conservatism, but what I don't like is I don't like the self-anointed sanctity that a lot of these people do. And the most recent example I like to give is John Kasich, the governor of Ohio. And John Kasich is, he's supposedly all reasonable and economically, conservative and fiscally responsible, and he knows 2 + 2 = 4, and blah, blah. And he goes with this whole big thing. And then when you get down to brass tacks and he does stuff like take Obamacare money or starts talking about, Common Core, taking money for that, or doing all this other stuff that is in direct violation of everything he supposedly stands for, bam, he whips out the Bible and starts talking about Jesus.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's like Glenn Beck will do the same goddamn thing. And it's like, fuck you, dude. Fuck you. I mean, it's like whatever. I mean, I have no problem looking the Pope in the eye and being like, fuck you, dude. I don't need you to talk to Jesus. And if you're a fucking communist, fuck you. And, whatever. I mean, I'm not so insecure that I need these people to tell me what to think. And I can call a ball and a strike on my own. So, and that's my problem with the guys like Glenn Beck and John Kasich. They're exactly the same. They are the same. And they will let you down every time. All right, we're going to wrap this up. We're going to talk about fun shit next time. So we maybe the next podcast maybe from Belize or something. Hey, we're from Outpost Belize, Marky and Freeze. We got kicked out of the country. So, all right. Well, this. Hey,
T-shirt money will buy us a shipping container we can convert to living quarters in Belize.
Yeah. All right. Well, this wraps up episode 43 of the John 1911 podcast. If you want to support this podcast, you can check out our blog page at john1911.com. We post lifestyle updates about shooting guns and having fun and industry news. If you want to do a little bit more and even support us financially, check out our T-shirt company. That's tacticaltshirts.com. That's tactical, TSHIRTS.com. Promotional and audio considerations by Mitch at A&M Promotions, who helps us basically sound like we're not idiots. And just remember, it's all about shooting guns and having fun, and everybody have a good day.
See you later.